On today's episode of Warehouse Safety Tips, we're going to be kicking off a 4-week series on forklift safety, and today we're going to be talking about forklift fundamentals. So stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. If you're a seasoned vodcast viewer, this vodcast is going to be different from most that you watch. It's based around exactly what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money, so each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all that out of the way, let's get to the vodcast. If you work in any sort of a facility or a warehouse that has forklifts, then you know it can be an absolute hive of activity. We've covered this before. We're going to keep covering it because it's just that important. So today what we're going to do is be covering the forklift fundamentals, and these are going to be 5 tips that are going to help you hopefully stay safer at your facility when operating forklifts. The very first thing that we want to cover is know your load limit. Make sure that you never exceed the limit of your particular forklift, because doing so can actually cause damage to the forklift. You can tip, you can lose control, and a myriad of other things. But this is just something that, right off the top, you need to know. And even though it's number 2, it probably should always be number 1. And that is, you want to make sure that if you're operating a forklift, that you are certified. It is an absolute paramount type thing. You don't ever want to operate any sort of machinery unless you have been provided with either certification. If you don't have a certification at your particular facility, just make sure that you have been properly trained and signed off on by management or maintenance or whoever, safety crew. It doesn't really matter who does it at your facility, but just make sure that somebody has signed off that they know you're operating that machinery. And the next thing is going to be number 3, which is daily inspections. And when it says daily, it is probably something that you really want to think of as per shift. And I know that this might sound like overkill, but it's not a bad idea to do it at the beginning of a shift and at the end of a shift. That way, when you walk around the forklift, you can do the same thing that you would with a rental car, and just make sure that everything is in place, that there isn't any damage, that all the lights are working, the brakes are working, the tires are in good shape, the forks and the mast and everything is in good shape, that nothing is beat up. That way, not only do you know it's safe, but you also aren't inheriting something that may have happened on another shift. So just make sure that you always do those inspections to make sure that everything is in working order. If it's not, make sure that you put it out of order until it is been repaired and approved to be used again. And then the next thing is going to be the stability triangle. That's number 4. You want to make sure that you never exceed the stability triangle, which is going to be the counterweight in the back of your forklift and the 2 wheels. So you want to make sure that you're never going outside of that stability triangle, because you can cause, again, tipping, loss of control, and just a myriad of damage that you could do to yourself and to the actual forklift itself. And then last but not least, and by no means the end all be all, but you want to always keep your safety in focus. That could be making sure that you sound your horns when you're coming up on intersections or when you see somebody. Don't assume that they see you. Always sound your horns. Make sure that if it's something that is provided that is needed, you're always wearing your safety belts and harnesses. Make sure that you are keeping your forks down to where you're not going in at full speed and running into something, not being able to see over your load and things like that. Just all the different safety things that go along with driving a tote motor. This is something that one of our sponsors, Mighty Line, that puts down safety floor tape and signs that we talk all the time with. And this is kind of a bonus, if you want to call it a 6th tip. And that is, you're going to save the life of your facility, and especially the life of any sort of tape or signs that you have down, by simply making sure that you tilt your forks just a bit and don't ever drag either your forks in the form of pushing and or pulling backwards, or that you are also not pushing or dragging any sort of skids, especially ones that have nails or any sort of sharp surfaces on them, because that will potentially pop up any sort of safety floor tape and signs that you have at your facility. So again, it's just a bonus tip, but it's one that if we could solve it, it would be something that they would be very, very happy about. So thank you very much for being part of this very first week on forklift safety. We're going to bring you 3 more weeks on that forklift safety. So we're going to cover a myriad of topics, but we want to thank you for being part of this very first one and all the safety tips that we provide. So until we talk to you next time, have a great day. Make sure that you have a safe day. And here is a word from one of our sponsors.
It's scientifically unexplainable. It's virtually indestructible. And it's taking over the entire planet. But in a really good way. It's Mighty Line floor tape, the most durable floor tape in the world. 7 times thicker than average floor tape. Beveled to endure pounding warehouse traffic. And backed with a super strong peel and stick adhesive, so you'll never have to worry about painting shop floors again. Mighty Line floor tape, the only durable stripe.